You got to deal with the reality that people knowingly, for short-term profits, are destroying the planet. 40 years ago, there were ads on television with doctors smoking cigarettes. Remember that? Ah, cool. It's good for your lungs. Yet the tobacco industry knew that they were producing a product that killed millions. And if you think the fossil fuel industry doesn't have the engineers and the scientists know exactly what they're doing, you'd be dead wrong.
Senator Bernie Sanders there, just one of the many Democrats pushing for a more aggressive approach to climate change as President Trump heads to the battleground state of Pennsylvania later today, just about 2 hours from now, to push his message. Energy Secretary Rick Perry joins us now. He's also former governor of Texas, a major oil and gas-rich state, of course. Mr. Secretary, good morning to you, and thank you for being here.
It's good to be with you.
So
thanks.
Let's start out first with some of the things that we're hearing on the campaign trail, including Bernie Sanders' charge that businesses are creating criminal activity by producing greenhouse gas emissions. Joe Biden's promise to take action against fossil fuel companies. They're talking about litigation, lawsuits. Elizabeth Warren. What do you make of all this rhetoric on the campaign trail?
I think they live in a fantasy world. Reality is that the United States is lowering emissions. One of the only countries in the world. Matter of fact, I think about all the 194 that signed on to the Paris Accord, the U.S. is the one that's leading the world in reducing emissions. That's what they ought to be talking about, that America transitioning away from old, inefficient power plants to natural gas plants or lowering emissions. How about let's get that LNG into Europe where they can do the same thing? Or maybe they think, they being the Democrats that are running for president, that China would be a better place for all of this manufacturing to occur. It is fantastical when you think about the true misrepresentation of the truth that the Democrats are spewing out there.
Well, there certainly is a growing appetite to take on climate change, and you're hearing that by the response that some of these Democrats running for president are getting. You're seeing it show up in the polls, too, as one of the biggest issues that will come up in the 2020 election. So what currently is the Trump administration's stance when it comes to climate change? What is the plan?
And we are addressing it. And I think that's one of the things that, both the media needs to take maybe a second look at what's going on. I'm leaving here from Pittsburgh, headed to the NETL lab, our National Energy Technology Lab, where we're seeing that type of technology being developed to reduce emissions, to come up with the technologies and the innovation. 15 years ago, people told us that we had found all the oil and gas that there was no more. Innovation changed that, whether it's hydraulic fracturing, directional drilling, and now natural gas is replacing a lot of those old, inefficient plants, and we're driving down emissions. That's a story that the Democrats don't want to talk about because it doesn't meet their narrative of going out and trying to scare the American public into potentially voting for them. I don't think the American people are going to be fooled by that rhetoric.
So let's transition to what's happening this afternoon with the president going out and pushing this message in Western Pennsylvania. I know that you'll be with the president, and the goal here is to turn natural gas deposits into plastics. And to quote the AP this morning on this, it's an embrace of plastic at a time when the world is sounding alarms over its ubiquity and impact. So this picture of turning natural gas into plastics in Western Pennsylvania to potentially create about 600 jobs, how should that be seen, Mr. Secretary?
Well, number one, there's about 6,000 construction jobs going on right now, and a $6 billion plus impact on the economy to the people of the Appalachian region. So I don't think the Democrats are going to go out and say that's bad for Pennsylvania, particularly if they're going to try to put Pennsylvania in their column. But here's the real key. We are using these polyethylene products practically in everything that we touch in the world, whether it's car parts, whether it's high-end healthcare products like heart valves. I mean, this is the what's going to be produced at this plant. You know, does the world need to address this issue of plastics getting into the ocean? Absolutely, and I've heard the president talk about that in our environmental conference that we had back about a month ago. So the president is focused on some of the challenges that the world has, but the idea that we're not going to use plastics, I mean, we use these products in our wind turbines. We use these products in our solar panels. So you can't have it both ways, and the Democrats are trying to.
All right, Mr. Secretary, we're out of time. We appreciate you coming on and hope you come back soon. Dig into that more.
Absolutely.
Thank you.